days. It's day 10 now. The housemates have been very complacent, been very laid back with all of the activities. They don't want to do so much. They're hiding and shying away from highlights, forgetting that the highlights is the actual thing that's going to keep them in the house. So, going back to previous season, Tasha, there's a thing as a Tasha highlight. The fights with Mercy, that kept her in the house. Of course, God had disqualified at some point, but till date, I can still remember that was a highlight. And it feels as though this housemates, day 10, have forgotten that or don't even know that they actually have to do something to be relevant and not just be in the house and eat all day long. All right, a couple housemates have been put up for possible eviction: Saif, Khalid, Christy O, Amaka, and Fina. All right, Hermes did that for this season. And let me let you know that if you haven't even noticed, that the dynamic of putting housemate up for eviction has changed, or it's not the same as it has been for other seasons. Now, if you're a fan of Big Brother, you would know that or remember that when it's time for nominations, that each housemate will go into the diary room and nominate 2 housemates for possible eviction, and whichever housemate, 5, 6 housemates that is called up the most would be put up for possible eviction. Now this year, the level up season, Big Brother has changed the dynamic of that. So the head of house is now mandated or has been tasked with a mandate to deliberate with his housemates and put 5 housemates up for possible eviction. Now the thing is, Hermes emerged as the head of house for this week. I will roll out all of the interesting things that happened during the head of house task. All right, he put Amaka up because she has a strong voice and he finds Amaka very competitive. I would understand that because, Friday, the task, Amaka did a lot of interesting and strategic, activities. And, I don't know if there's a generalized perception that ladies cannot do so much so fast, but Amaka actually changed that narrative. I remember during the Friday task where they had to perform, Amaka was outstanding. You didn't need to even look so much or search for her name on her belt. You would just know that this female housemate is actually doing the most during this performance. But then Hermes actually took note of that and put her up for possible eviction. Another housemate that he put up for possible eviction because of strategic reasons was Khalid. So the thing is, if you didn't know, I'll let you know now, that Khalid and Hermes actually stayed together in the same room before coming onto the show, right? So their housemates were paired before coming on the show, so they were now separated by choosing 2 different cards, a black and white card and a colored card that put them in the various houses. So Hermes and Khalid were in the same room, they stayed together, and Hermes thought, because he already knows that Khalid is a very strong competitor and he's a threat to Hermes. So Hermes thought that well and put him up for possible eviction. But many of the housemates, or some of the housemates, actually have a problem with that. Doyin particularly. Doyin, for example, said, you cannot live in the same house with the same room, with a particular housemate and then put them up for eviction. You're not a true friend, all of that. I think she has lost her focus and have forgotten that Big Brother generally is a game, It's a game, Don't go and be lost in emotions and carried away. My friend. It's just 10 days into the house and you're already assuming that somebody likes you enough to save you from, possible eviction and all of that. Away from the fact that Hermes came out the champion and the current head of house for the week, it was a very interesting game, right? So all of the housemates came out to play, but all of them could not play. The 2 new housemates, Deji and Modella, could not participate as it's standard procedure. When there's a new housemate in the house, the housemate is not allowed to participate in the head of house task for the week that they have just been put into the house. And of course, the incumbent head of house, Elo Swagger, also would not participate, just so it's not a consecutive win of head of house over and over again. So once you're head of house for this week, the coming week you would not be allowed to perform in the head of house task, just so someone else can actually come and do something different and spice up the the leadership of the house. All right, 3 housemates couldn't play. That left 23 housemates to actually participate in the head of house task yesterday. The first task that they were given, they had to set the time for wristwatches that they were given. So apparently, 8 wristwatches were put in a bowl of oil. So I don't know if it was engine oil or groundnut oil. I'm sure it wasn't palm oil because it wasn't red. So they had to bring each wristwatch out and set the time to 4 o'clock. So you would find that very, I mean, is it not just to bring out a wristwatch and set it to 4 o'clock? No, come and see the housemaid doing yaga yaga up and down. I'm like, it's just to set, you know, but then again, I think I understand that, you know, seeing them do a task on TV is quite different from actually doing the task in itself. I know that is the thing, but then it's to set the wristwatch. Come on. And it was very surprising to see that some of the housemates actually thought they had set the time to 4 o'clock and it wasn't 4 o'clock. Some housemates were disqualified. Chiamzi was disqualified. I'm like, no, why should you make such a mistake? I want to point out that Hermes is a very dramatic person and he could be mistaken for someone who's got bipolar disorder. Look, I know somebody who has got it and Hermes is showing very serious symptoms. Hard and not easy to look past symptoms of bipolar disorder. I know that it's hereditary. I know that Hermes trended at some point because his mother walked, I would not say ran away just so it's not very dramatic, but then ran or walked away from a psych eval. Maybe not Yaba left, but maybe Yaba left. You get where I'm headed. And then there was like a search party for his mom, and after some days, she was found. So I do not want to believe that it's been passed on to Hermes, because if you're watching the show like I am, you would understand that Hermes, you know, one time he's singing when he's not supposed to, he's mumming when he's not supposed to, but then I like his resilience. We cannot but talk about Hermes' resilience. So for the second task, the housemates, the 3 housemates are qualified, Hermes, Saif and Dotun, had to carry balls across a distance in their thigh, from one bowl to the other. Basically across the room, they had to carry balls in their thigh across from bowl to bowl. So Hermes carried 8 in a very rough and strategic way. I know that guy has a lot going on, but I must say he's a very smart person, he's very calculative, he's very focused, I would add that, but then, you know, there are a lot of things going on. So basically, Dotun had the opportunity to take off his pant completely, but then he didn't. So he took off the pant halfway and had his underwear on and tried to carry the ball in his thigh. And it wasn't working. It felt like he was in a bag of, you know that sack game that we used to play when we were in primary school, where you put that sack on and you're trying to run across a distance and, you know, one person falls. That is exactly what Dotun did, and I was so disappointed. Not like I thought so much of Dotun, by the way, but I was just so disappointed in a grown man. A grown man that's got brains in his head, has got a cerebral cortex and all of the parts of the brain that should be functioning well. Will think it fit to do that on a show. Like, that video will haunt Dotun for the entirety of his existence. I will bet you on that. Create a pattern. How would you carry the ball? Create a pattern. Either you hop, or you walk, or you just keep a pace. And I would say that is what Hermes actually did. He kept a pace. At some point he was hopping, he was leaping at some point, and at some point he was walking. So I think he found his pace and then walked through the entirety of that task, and undoubtedly came out the winner of the head of the house for the week. Congratulations to Hermes. He actually saw that coming, I must say, and I'm very excited for him and excited for all of the interesting things and interesting dynamic as a leader that he would bring onto the table this week. And that's what he is. So that's all we've got in this episode. You want more? Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, come back for more, because we got more for y'all. My name is Jonathan. The name ain't never gonna change. So bye.